My name is Marcin Klosowski. I'm the publisher of the Real Estate Voice. I would like to welcome you on today's session, Poland, Land of Opportunities for Investors and Tenants. We will try to answer for a question: is Poland still key target for international retailers? We will start, the background for the discussion will be presentation by Ela Mędrzycka from Polish Shopping Center Council about Polish customer and Polish customer purchasing power. Today's speaker are Mr. Marek Netzel, partner in Cushman Wakefield, Mr. Rafał Fabisiak, CEO at Diva Poland, and Mr. Aleksander Kowalski, leasing director at Trigranit. Let's start with presentation. Ela?
Mesdames, Messieurs, bonjour. J'aurais voulu parler français, mais c'est peut-être préférable pour tous que de parler anglais. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. I will try to speak English because French is... I prefer to speak French, of course. Poland is the only country in the recession with the growth. Our politicians are very proud of this. Poland's economic growth in the second quarter of this year was circa about 4.5%. There is a lot. We are like a green island in Europe. What is the reason of this phenomenon? The consumption. After many years of empty shops, Polish customers have a chance to buy what they want. It is really true. I'm not sure. For this, I want to tell you something about Polish market paradoxes. The first is about consumption, and the second is about retail market. I come back to politicians. We are a country with a lot of politicians, elections, and they have a lot to tell. And they are very proud of Polish consumers. Polish Minister of Economy said a few days ago that Polish consumers are patriots. Why they are patriots? Because all the economy are based on their consumption. The purchasing power of Polish customer is rather low. 4,650 euros, it's not a lot of money. But Polish customers keep buying. That's the secret of the Polish economic growth. They have income from different sources. They work abroad and they have a few jobs. But the Polish customer is smart. What does it mean? They have good products, they want good products, good prices, and good quality and choice. And I arrive to the second paradox of the Polish market. Many years ago, when I was journalist, a CEO of Unilever said in an interview, all fingers on retailers. And I think that it's still true. We have a lot of retail space, many shopping centers and formats, and the market is still developing, as you can see on numbers. But we have not enough brands and not enough concept. A lot of brands are already present. New brands have arrived recently, like Gap, Desigual, Toys R Us, Starbucks, but still is not enough. Polish customers still searching. They have become hunters. They are hunting for special offers online. Polish Groupon is spending a phenomenal rate. Conclusion. There is a clear sign for retailers. Polish customers think that the offer lacks uniqueness. Consumption reflects our aspiration. There is a status symbol. 63% of Polish people like prestigious brand, but for the moment, only products like cars or electronic gadgets. We need, of course, an education. We need to educate the customers about brands, about new habits. But there is a very opportunity for retailers. Think about it. And now, during our discussion, I want to show a movie about different opportunities for a smart customer. The opening of the shopping center, the night of shopping, and the anniversary of the shopping center. These situations are in different cities, big and small, and with in different shopping centers. And now I think that there is a time to discuss. Thank you for the attention.
Thank you, Ola, for the presentation. Yes, we have a very smart consumer, and the consumer is probably the most important secret and value of the Polish market. But the last 10 years, or maybe more, this was very fast growth of Polish shopping center market, and we have many modern space, many modern shopping centers. In which point we are now? What is the future? What we have to do? This is the question to Marek from Cushman Wakefield. We can still have many new openings, or maybe now it's time to redevelopment existing projects. The future is for medium cities, or maybe we are back to big agglomerations.
Hello. In my opinion, the answer is not that easy. I've heard many opinions saying that there is no more room in the 10 biggest Polish cities for modern retail development, and I've heard that like 4 years ago. And how many openings since then have we witnessed? I think that there is still room for numerous big projects, regional projects, and I think that the market will be driven by infrastructure changes, the road infrastructure, which will help increase catchment areas of given locations, creating potential retail destinations, first of all. Second of all, we can see there's a lot changing within Polish Railway Station Authority. This is probably one of the biggest landowners in the country with the superb located projects. PKP has already started Katowice. They have started Poznań. Gdańsk is there, Gdynia. There's lots of things still to happen. I believe there's a room in medium and smaller cities. Last 2 years has proved that the plans had to be verified. There's no more place for 3 projects being developed at the same time in a city of 100,000 inhabitants. This is simply not possible. Not everybody can be a developer. It's a complex process, and it must be managed by professionals, not by people who think they can develop. It's not that easy. But I believe in smaller cities, medium-sized cities, but in projects which are tailor-made, specifically designed for given locations. Cities differ one to the other. It's easy to look at statistics, but you have to have deep knowledge of given market in order to get your product, in that case, shopping development, done properly. And the last, I think that the format of retail will change. It is already changing. Huge influence of internet. In fact, nobody could honestly say how it will influence the retail. It is changing already. We can observe that. But shopping experience is something that clients will always be looking in shopping destinations. Therefore, I cannot say that internet will kill malls. That's simply impossible. But I'm sure that not only classical malls will be developed, but we will see more retail parks and outlets which are being successfully developed, and I think this is another driver for the market for further growth over the next 5 to 10 years.
And what is the point of view of investor? The Trigranit is the leading investor in the CEE. What do you think about Poland in the future in the region? And what is your vision of developing of the market? Marek said a few words about railway stations.
Yeah, so we are currently developing a project in Poznań, and this is a partnership with PKP, the Polish Railways Authority. And the project will, in fact, include 3 components. It will be a shopping center with 60,000 square meter GLA, a railway station, a new railway station, and a new bus station. And I think this is a unique opportunity for us to develop a project inside, very downtown of Poznań, which is one of the largest cities in Poland, and provide a new shopping place for inhabitants of the city, to provide infrastructure for the city, as we are redesigning and rebuilding the whole road system around the project. We are also connecting, for example, the existing fair of Poznań to the project. So I think it's a great opportunity, and we cooperate with PKP, and as Marek said, there is still a lot of very attractive pieces of land, especially in next to the railway station, which can develop in many cities, and we are currently discussing with PKP some new opportunities. So definitely yes.
Okay, and what is the tenant point of view of developing of the market? Diva is unique because last 2 years was quite hard for tenants and because of economic risks, and you opened 18 shops?
Currently we have 24.
Wow.
Within 18 months. Yes, so the Polish market for retailers is difficult, but it has lots of challenges, but also opportunities, which usually come along. So I think that in case of Diva, the success is that we were very careful in choosing locations. We did not open stores where we had serious doubts about the potential of the given location. And well, we are not the masters of the universe. Within those 24 stores, we still have 1 or 2 bad performing locations, and we'll probably go for closing them. But in general, we were very happy with the development, and we'll continue it in the next year. The question is, of course, whether it will have the same momentum or the same dynamics. This is then dependent on the project that will be on the market at the same time. So at a certain stage, every concept will come to a point where you need to look for the when you get to the barrier of those locations that fit your concept, because each concept, of course, has a different customer. So like our colleagues from Rossmann opened within, I think, 5 years, 500 locations, and they plan to double this, or 600 yes.
already.
This is something that, of course, Diva will never do, and many other concepts as well. So I think the right locations, the right finding also the right customers for your concept is a crucial thing. We mentioned also, because this is a very important one, I was this September I attended the World Retail Congress in Berlin, and we discussed also the issues of internet and mobile, because there is now already a differentiation for those who do not know, not only purchases through internet, but purchases through mobile phones. And the general, and I would agree with the outcomes from the discussions that were held there, that the brick and mortar, the traditional retail, will never go away. I mean, people like to go to shops. And on the side of the retailer, what you need to do is to make this shopping experience exciting. Yes, there must be a need to come back to the store. However, internet is, of course, another channel, and mobile is slowly but very rapidly becoming the third channel. So basically, a retailer who is currently operating or is planning to enter the market has to think already about an infrastructure that will allow him to go through those three channels. And like Diva currently is only doing still the traditional one, but we are very advanced in creating the internet channel, and we'll then follow up with the mobile channel as well.
You are looking for smart consumer. Okay, Ella, you have great experience working on the Polish retail market. You're working and advising to investors, but also to tenants. Tell me, what do you think, what we need to develop the market in this moment?
First of all, we haven't only one kind of customers. Sometimes retailers arrive on the Polish market and think that we have only Mr. Kowalski, Mr. Nowak, only one kind of customer. That's not the truth. We have a lot of people, we have senior, not only young people, not only casual fashion. We need a differentiation, a different kind of targeting. There is a right word. A market must be connected with the system of value of the customer. For Polish people, the family and the traditional value are very important, and the children are very important in our way of thinking. For this, the offer for the stores for children, but not only for children, for parents, with an add value shopping experience connected with a social network, because parents are very open to the communication in the social network. For young people, an example, sport shoes, a new sport like surfing, snowboard, for young people, haven't enough proposition on the Polish market. The young people buy online in USA, and they know brands. I think that there are a lot of opportunities.
I'm a surfer. I was in Brussels 2 days ago, and much better to buy something there or in Poland.
And prices. People are smart. They compare online prices. The information is global, but the offer local.
Yes, that's the internet is the thing which everybody talking about. It's important point.
Very interesting. Because for sure, some of the sales will go through the internet with the time. I think it's inevitable, and I think the tenants are already thinking about that as Rafał said, to control this channel as well, not only the classical channel, but I think eventually everybody has to go sometime to the shopping center and see the merchandise. Especially, I cannot imagine how to buy a fashion item and check the shoes or the suit or whatever. So I think that more and more we will have a situation that clients will go, that the shops will become a kind of showrooms, right? When tenants will display merchandise, but then the customers will go and purchase through the internet. But still, they have to see it somewhere and try it.
They have also the possibility to meet in the shopping center. They have also the possibility to meet somebody and to have some leisure. Yes, it's not only shopping.
Sure. I think that the role of shopping centers as social places, not only shopping places,
social network and social
is really
places.
growing. So yeah, social network. So that's also a challenge, and I think future path for real estate investors and developers to redevelop or to renew their currently existing schemes to make them more attractive and attract more customers, because the very basic or the first generation of shopping centers will be less and less attractive to customers.
Internet changing the world, changing also the shopping center world, but we everybody agreeing that our market have potential to grow. Is it a good moment to attract new brands to Poland, and how to do it? Alexander?
Mm-hmm. I think what we can serve. Okay, we operate currently 2 centers, and in Poland it's existing Bonarka in Kraków and then Poznań, which is being built. We observe that there are a lot of new tenants coming to the market. Okay, to mention a couple of them: Toys R Us, TK Maxx, and new brands brought by NFE MAPIC, like Gap, for example, just opened their first stores in Poland. Brands brought by Alshaya Group, American Eagle, Topshop, Topman, etc. So these tenants really in the existing schemes, and there are not many room for such large formats. So that's why there is so much. There is certainly an offer for these tenants to in the existing centers. I mean, newly developed shopping centers.
Marek?
So
I agree with Alek totally. I mean, if you are a newcomer to the market and you hope to secure a superb location downtown Warsaw, you probably won't be able to do so. You have to be able to follow new developments that are in the pipeline, secure your location, and agree to open in a year or 2. But you're gonna be in the location that you're looking for, because the market, as I see that, has really differentiated. Projects are different one to the other more than ever before. There's probably long waiting list in projects like Arcadia or the Tarasy in Warsaw, but there's number of projects which are opened within last 2 or 3 years, which has not been fully let at the opening and still are not fully let, even though it was a year or 2 that has passed. So it's important to be on the market, to feel the market, to understand what's going on, and be able to step into the project on the right time. Yes, it's easier to enter the project which is already there in the market for a number of years, where you can see the numbers, you can compare the turnovers, but then you don't have the offer. So you have to take a risk, wait some time, but the profit will be there. Being in the newly developed mall from the beginning gives you the beneficent of being the first one in the mall, and that is something that I'm pretty sure not everybody understands, and that's a challenge, I would say, these days.
I would also say that for international retailers, it's important to, it's a slogan, but to follow it actually, that you need the international experience, but you also need the local knowledge. And Marek is absolutely right, and you will you cannot expect that in a quite saturated and quite mature market as Poland is, that you will enter the market even with a very attractive brand and get the top locations in the best malls. No, that there is a queue in line. You really have to present yourself in a proper way and stand at the waiting list and do your best to get there. So I would also start with some projects like Alex Trigranite, which is currently built, where you can still get a good location, and make this as a start. At the same time, looking for those locations that where your customers are and where you would like to be.
Hello.
I come back to the differences on the Polish market. From one part, we have the possibility for luxury brand in Warsaw, and with nice places for this kind of brands. And for the other part, we have a scheme of discount shopping center that start to develop in small city in Poland. And I think that in all situations, the decision must be very rational and based on surveys and analysis.
Yes, but you talked about luxury goods. It's, I think, important for the Polish market. I saw the presentation by KPMG that they told that for luxury brands is a very big potential on the Polish market now. What do you think about that, Marek?
I could agree with that, although I think that the provision of proper retail space, for example, in Warsaw, where all the luxury brands would love to start with, is very limited. Polish market has actually no high street, proper high street, as I would say. We are being compared to Czech or to Hungarians, and if you look at the high street over there, it's so much different to what we have in Warsaw. That's why I'm saying we do not have high street. Luxurious brands, they would not develop in malls. They would need to go to proper high street destinations, and this is very limited in Warsaw. This is actually Plac Trzech Krzyży, and that's it. And this is in a way stopping that market, because there is for sure a demand, for sure a potential, but the quality of the space is not there yet. It will come, it is changing, and we can see a lot is changing in Nowy Świat. The mentality of the authorities is changing. They finally realize that high street is not only about restaurants, it's about fashion, and they are more able to open the discussions with owners to change the way the given property is being used to really make those high street work again. Because this is one of the biggest challenges in Poland now. There's no high street, and this will change, but I regret this is happening so slowly. And this is stopping the luxurious brands to come into the market.
Yes, that's true, that we don't have high streets, but maybe this kind of projects like Trigranit in Poznań, this is in center, railway station, maybe revitalization is some good idea.
I think generally regarding these upmarket brands, they are extremely demanding in terms of location and also in terms of neighborhood. Okay, developing a shopping center, we need to attract these brands, we need to properly position it. I mean, we need to clearly communicate to these brands that we're going to have several of these brands, not one or two or three of them, because this is not enough. They need to be grouped together, properly located. Otherwise, there is no success for these brands. So, okay, in the centers, okay, for example, in Bonarka, we have tried to arrange a space in the middle of the center, make a square, and then we're grouping all these brands like Max Mara, like Calvin Klein, Liujo, and others, make very attractive neighborhood, coffee bars, and then this can work. Otherwise, it's difficult to and they if we don't do that, they usually refuse the place.
And Ella, what is your expectation about luxury brands in Poland?
The differences between the purchasing power of people are very high in Poland, practically the same that in other European countries. There is the big difference between today and 20 years ago. There is 32 fois.
32 years.
No years. 32 fois plus la différence.
32
Yes.
years.
Okay.
Yeah.
There is a lot. Of course, the number of people that have a lot of money is not so big, but there is not necessary to have a lot of shops, but I think that there is an opportunity to keep them in the country. Why they must travel to buy the things?
Not travel, maybe the internet is a
Yes.
good possibility. Okay, but please tell me, we have any most important problems now, the most important barriers to develop the market, to have new centers? What is the most important barrier? Marek?
I would say this is what on one hand globalization gives lots of opportunities. These days it shows how globalization may be dangerous. Capital is moving very fast, but it's flowing in very fast and flowing back very fast. And we are a country being perceived as emerging market, and will always be considered like that. Maybe not always, but in mid-term probably yes. and we can observe how quickly the capital is moving away from our country. You can see what is changing, what is happening to Polish currency, what is happening to stock exchange. The changes in the market are so quick and so hard to predict. I'm not even saying that the trend going down is a bad issue, bad circumstances. I would say that uncertainty, what's going to happen today, that is the issue, because we all could prepare if we could assume that it's going to be worse tomorrow, but we know more or less how bad it's going to be. But today we actually cannot predict what is going to happen tomorrow. So I think the inability to plan your future tightens the hands of both retailers, developers, bankers, everybody who is involved in retail market. And I would say this is the issue. We don't have as much problem with financing the project. It's harder to get them financed. It's not that hard yet, although I would say it's gonna get harder. Next year is gonna be, in that respect, probably very tough. If there is no financing, there's nothing, because there are no investors, there are no projects. And I would hope that's not going to happen, but looks like next year is going to be maybe tough. So I would say this is what's stopping the market to expand. As well, I would say that being where we are today, we should even more try to get the Polish infrastructure developed. I'm talking about the roads, the railway stations, etc., because there's no single big city in Poland that would have proper ring road. This is amazing, but the way you travel in biggest Polish cities is nightmare. It is changing, and you can see, observe that it is changing. But if there is no infrastructure, which is the driver for any development, retail development, housing development, office development, if there is no infrastructure, there's no development. And I think that we do a lot, but we could do more on that basis. This is very political issue in Poland these days. That's why it's a hard issue. But there is a lot of money coming in from European Union. We are the biggest beneficient now of transfer from EU, and we should use that money as much as we could. There's a big debate because there's going to be new budget for EU for 2013 and back and up. So it's a discussion now, and we need to do our best to secure as much money for infrastructure and utilize that money, spend everything we could. And this is something that should be above political differences in Poland. Agreed, this should be the most important, no matter who's gonna win the elections, this should be the key priority for no matter who is ruling the country.
Maybe after Euro 2012, we will have some positive changes in the biggest cities. Which are
well, actually,
only if we win the European Union, yeah, maybe. But so I wouldn't bet on that.
No, actually, yes. Well, 2012 is the Euro, football championship is a tough issue because Poland is still preparing for it. But we already know that we are behind with many things, and many roads will not be opened. Yes, fortunately, we'll have the stadiums, and that's a good thing. But many of the infrastructural investments will not be on time. Of course, then the question is whether they will be continued and finished or not. Hopefully they will. So I think in general, when speaking about barriers for retailers, I think although it's a crisis time, because Poland is a green island, but we are an island not isolated by water or sea. We are part of the European Union, and we are surrounded by other countries who are suffering more. So this definitely has an influence on our economy, and also on the consumers and their approach towards spending. They still do a great job and spend in comparison to other countries a lot. But what Marek already also mentioned, this uncertainty that is currently in the air makes it really unable to make exact presumptions or predictions how consumers will behave in 2012. So this uncertainty is really a problem, especially in budgeting processes that every retailer but also landlords are doing, because it's difficult to predict the rent rates, whether they will be at the high level or whether the landlord will have to go down with them. It's difficult to plan the turnover, whether we're going to have a like-for-like increase, or maybe we'll have no increase, or maybe even a decrease. So this is something that everyone has to really closely, especially as a retailer where cost is always the enemy, closely look at this and plan conservatively for the development.
I think for developers, for sure, one of the main obstacles right now is to secure financing for the projects, because okay, we know the economical situation, and from our experience, I can say that banks have now become extremely cautious, and it really takes time to convince them to the project and to convince them to contribute to the project. Just to give you an example, for the Poznań project, which is okay, one of the best, hopefully, projects being developed in Poland, we will have a consortium of 6 different banks, both Polish, state-owned, and international, and it took us, I think, almost 1 year to sign the loan agreement for the project. So I think it is an issue, and the behaviors of the bank is extremely important for developers, also for retailers, obviously.
Okay, and let's back to this presentation to Ella. We have smart consumer, and our consumer are hunters. Maybe it's good time for outlets, new projects of this kind.
Outlet, it's one of the scheme. I consider that we have another opportunity. There is the refurbishment and the extension of existing project.
Redevelopment.
Because the redevelopment, repositioning, recommercialization, etc. And I think that a lot of projects start again on this field. And the second opportunity are mixed used urban project with the European financement, like Jessica, for example. We have a lot of example on this field, and there is an opportunity of cooperation with local authorities, and the dialogue with local authorities is growing on this kind of fields, I think, because the risk exists in all business. The challenge is only to be conscious that we have risk on all markets, especially on a certain time, and to have a professional approach. I think that there is obvious.
Yeah. Marek, and what do you think about redevelopment of existing projects?
I'm fully convinced that this is the way to, in competitive world, you have to adapt, but you have to differentiate from your other projects. So one of the ways is to redevelop, extend, whether that would be extension, would that be additional space like outlet, why not, or retail park, maybe. But refurbish, refresh, introduce new tenants, sacrifice sometimes more money that you would normally do to get a better value long term, to get your project perceived in a new way. Polish customer is hunting, but they like novelty. They could easily change the way they behave. They can easily skip from one scheme to the other, just like that. So you need to always make your customer be your customer for as long as it could be. If it goes well today, doesn't mean it's going to be the same tomorrow. So redevelopment, refurbishment is definitely something that is already happening, and this is with limited provision of new developments in coming years, because this is what is the future. Refurbishments would be great opportunity for tenants to take their positions in the market rather than opening new developments. This is gonna probably go down, but refurbishments, they would come. We're gonna witness number of malls coming to their maturity, being 10, 15 years old. So the leases are gonna expire, and you have to manage those. And you can either terminate or prolong or change your tenants. This is a good time to rethink the strategy and refresh the picture of the mall.
And maybe also it's a good time to bring customer more leisure and entertainment in shopping centers. What do you think, Rafał? It's good for classic tenants to have more?
I think the customer currently is really picky, and we observe this on our stores that it's really hard to compare one location to another. What I'm trying to say is that not every center will be able to have a movie, a theater, not every center will need a bowling place, but there's plenty of space to invent something special for the customer. So it's definitely a direction, like I said before, that the customers want to have a shopping experience which is not only focused on shopping, must be also a theater around it. And this will make them come back to the malls. So it's then up to the shopping mall developers to try to find their best way to get those customers. Of course, again, you have to look locally on a city or even district perspective, whether and how to choose, what tools to choose or what solutions to choose to have this extra added value.
Okay. To summarize the discussion, I have one question for all of you. What is your expectation to the market for the next 2 or 3 years? What we have to do? And please tell me your positive and negative scenario, because Marek, you told us that we will have small crisis next year, but maybe not. I hope so. Alexander?
I think we really have to think carefully of and attend at every project. If you really, if you are convinced that the location is good, if you know what is your catchment area, if you know your customer, normally you have all the chances to succeed. And really we have to remember that we have to offer something, as Rafał mentioned, have to offer something new to the customer, because the customers they change from one center to another. So any new project has to bring additional value to the customer, and I think this is key for success. So this is a negative part that the customer is extremely choosy, I think.
Well, I would say, and you decide whether that's bad or good, but I would say that market is already in a way cleared off and is still clearing off, and next year will probably even more clearing off the projects and the individuals which tried to promise or develop projects which really didn't have any sense. So I think that we will observe strong tenants, strong developers getting stronger, but those who will not be able to keep up the pace will have to either merge or redefine their strategy, and that refers to both tenants and developers. And I think that you have to have knowledge, you have to have experience, you have to have the contacts in the market, and most of all you have to have the cash to get your things done. Cash is king today. And whether that's bad or wrong, you decide. I think that's a rather positive sign that really market will clear off unrealistic promises of development.
We have growing than mature market.
Excuse me?
The market is still growing, but it's becoming mature market.
Market will be still growing, in my opinion, but will not be overheating. And it will be growing at commonly sense pace, which I think will be profitable for everybody involved. And I think this is going to be a healthy situation.
Yeah. Rafał?
I think that for the
is good.
What's better for the retailers, it's going to be challenging times. It's hard again to say whether good or bad. I mean, of course, it would be better to know that for the next 3 years we will have a 2-digit economic growth and things would be easy, right? But this is something that is very unlikely, and I don't expect, and I did not budget for this kind of scenario, frankly speaking. So I think like every uncertain times, like already mentioned, brings always difficulties, but challenges, but also opportunities. I think when a retailer is focused on a conservative plan, but still to develop the networks, they will, in this short or medium term, 2 or 3 years, they will succeed. I mean, those who will be able to continue their development and have a healthy business, they will, I expect actually that after 2-3 years, when things get stabilized, they will then can expect a very good rate of return after that times. And in the meantime, one has just to do his business right and cutting costs, getting the business model right, or renew it when necessary. Simply look at the market and adjust to it. So again, hard to say whether it's good or bad. I think it's these are times that are really challenging for everyone, and for retailers especially, are really forced to look into their business and control it, fully control it, and slowly develop it.
And that will be a good time for strong tenants and strong developers. Yeah. Healthy business. Ella, what is your point of view?
The market is more competitive, and for the shopping center, the moment of the truth is the opening. And the competition is in the ability to manage relationship with customers, but on site and online, both. But to manage relationship with tenants too. And that will be the very important part of our job in the future, because the loyalty of tenants and good cooperation, the loyalty of customers and the good cooperation with tenants will be a big part of the success of different shopping centers. I think good brands, we need good brands, but good sellers in stores and in shops. And that will be the challenge of the future for shopping centers, I think.
And that's, we have major market, and I think all you will need more work to attract the customer. Yeah. Okay. We have still a few minutes, and it's the minutes for you for the questions and answer session from auditorium. Any questions? Okay, that's probably will be possible.
I get one question here. What is two things? Just on a personal question, why are things so expensive in Poland? You talked about buying products in Brussels and not in Warsaw. That still is, to me, I can understand why that's the case. Why is that, do you guys think? Is distribution? Is it less competition? But why is that? That's my first question. The second one, what would stop the Polish consumer growth, the retail numbers, from going up? They seem to not be able to, they're so resilient in hard times. But the question is, if you have weakness of the currency, is that going to bring down finally some of the retail sales numbers, which have been incredibly strong the last few years?
Rafał?
On the last question, the currency risk, yes, and the fact that the Polish zloty has lost his strength towards the euro or the dollar is actually not, in my opinion, it's not hitting directly the customers. It's rather hitting me as a retailer, because you have to be aware, most of you probably know, that rents in Poland are currently in euro. Yes, so my rent automatically went up 20 or 30%. Yes, when the zloty was down, the same percent it went up for me. So there is a certain impact, of course, on the customer's strength, spending strength. But, well, it's not such a large scale, I believe. Those people who have taken a few years ago loans or mortgages for houses in Swiss francs, they have also now a significantly higher loan to be repaid. So, of course, this is the money that goes to the bank. It does not go to the retail, it does not go to the consumption, right? So this is an effect, but this already happened. Yes, I really do not expect that the Swiss franc, which was very popular in Poland as the currency to take a loan for housing, that this will dramatically change. I don't think so. So I think from the customer's perspective, the zloty position is quite neutral. It's really a problem for the retailers. So that's why looking for cost cuttings and for having a margin at the right level is very crucial right now.
Alexander, Trigranit operating many shopping centers in the many countries in Europe. Is it really true that in Poland the prices are really high?
I'm not convinced that that's really there is so much difference between Poland and other countries. So for me, it's not really a major issue. I think we are more or less on a comparable level with especially with other countries in Central Europe.
I have the same impression. Have we any more questions from? Okay, I would like to thank you for our discussion, and I hope all the speakers will have some time to discuss you personally after our discussion now. Thank you very much.
Thank you.